Week 13, but it's the title decider. Liverpool versus Tottenham.
United! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Very Biased Opinions coverage of the Premier League. We are in Week 13, and unfortunately, that means that midweek Premier League football is back. We are stuck making predictions before we've seen a single game, and as such, we apologize for any mistakes we make. It's quite possible every team we thought was going to win will lose. Every team that we thought would lose. I mean, it's going to be anarchy out there, but we're going to do our best to cover it all. Before I go any further, if you only want to hear about one match, go into the description. Our timestamps are there. Equally, the chapters feature, probably easier to use, is just at the bottom of the video, but don't do that. Watch the whole thing. It's going to go quickly. It's going to be some great content. And I think we'll probably do it a little bit differently than we normally do. And there'll be more questions than answers given outside of predictions here. Also, we are an Amazon affiliate. We got a bunch of good offers, special Christmas offers. Please have a click below. Ian's going to come up with a bunch of stuff. A friend of the channel, Ed Charlton, is now part of a new app. I believe it's called UR Feed. Have a look at that. It's a video app advertising football and stuff like that. So
is that a paid sponsorship?
What, are we getting paid for this? No.
God damn it.
No. Sorry, YouTube. Also, please go to Grandstand Bettors. They're excellent tips. They had an absolute rip-roaring day yesterday. I think they were up 7 units. So if you bet £10 a thing, you're up 70 quid. Congratulations if that happened to you. And without further ado, we're gilding the lily. As Ian said, it is title decider time as Liverpool host Tottenham Hotspur.
Thomas, I'm blind. I have no previous games to go off. And coincidentally, if I do that, people will think that we're in the Illuminati.
So this video has already got off the rails. We're 35 seconds in.
Regardless of what we know about previous matches, this is going to be fascinating because it's Liverpool against Jose, against Jose's tactics, and Jose. You know, it was pretty clear in that Arsenal game that he set a little trap for Arsenal to just kind of come on to us. We'll give you possession. We'll give you everything, and then we'll hit them. And Chelsea didn't engage in that game, and it ended up being a very boring 0-0 draw. But Liverpool have no other way of playing than going out and just trying to smash them.
You just referenced Arsenal and Chelsea whilst talking about the same match. But
it was on my mind. It was on my mind.
It's okay. Keep going. Sorry. Just to clarify.
I was just curious. Do you think, how do you think this one's going? Because it's isn't that Liverpool just going to play into Tottenham's hands here, or are Tottenham biting off more they can chew trying to do this against Liverpool?
I don't think Liverpool can play into Spurs' hands because Liverpool won't change their style or their match plan in any way. Liverpool they're a Champions League winning world power of football. They're not changing the way they play in any way. What they may do is they may not have an especially high line, knowing that Son literally is running on insane solar powered sprints or something. I don't know. It's going 0 to 60 at about 1,000 miles an hour. It's not really fair. There's nothing to stop him. But I do think Jose is going to make this game turgid. I think he's going to make it really hard to find space, and he'll definitely be looking for Kane and Son to counter. Question for you is, Gareth Bale, Tottenham Hotspur, does he even play?
He won't start. He might come off the bench.
Is he ever going to start outside of the Europa League?
He probably hasn't done a great deal to make Jose think he gets to start in place at the moment, or maybe he can't. I wouldn't see. Jose must look at him and think he's not going to impact a game unless it's off the bench for 20 minutes because he still isn't up to speed. He doesn't even really look up to speed that much when he plays Europa League. You have to think in this game. You hope Liverpool get the first from a neutral. You'd hope Liverpool get the first goal.
Yeah.
Just to cut. So Spurs have to come out a little bit and play. Not that I find Spurs' tactics boring, by the way. I don't at all.
I don't think they necessarily play boring. It's their ability to grind a match to a halt at times, where you're kind of you're watching it and you're I don't reckon the opposition are going to score. And equally, Spurs know a draw will do them here. A draw keeps them top of the table. It keeps their biggest rival on an equal points behind them. Liverpool, just want to really quickly talk about, is it Fabinho who's playing centre back right now?
Yeah, it must be. Because obviously I'm looking through their injury list and it is horrifying.
He's been immense, though. Like, he is slotted into centre-back and essentially makes maybe one mistake a match that a normal centre-back wouldn't make. And outside of that, has just been incredible. And I also really quickly just want to say that Arsenal fans, I know you will hate me when I talk about your club, but I think I've been very differential to teams like Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City even about how good they are. So as soon as you guys learn how to, put 3 passes together and then score the goal, I will say nice things about you. But until then, I'm stuck talking nice things about Liverpool, and I hate it.
This has gone off the rails, hasn't it? This has gone off the rails, because I don't believe that you will say nice things about Arsenal under any circumstances. But, right. Liverpool got an insanely good record at Anfield. Certainly good record anyway, but insanely good at Anfield. Crowd will be there, roaring them on. It's a massive game. Liverpool do have a lot of injuries that Tottenham can exploit. What do you think, Tom? On the spot, what do you think the score will be?
2-2 draw.
2-2 John for Desmond. Okay. Yep. I failed. I cannot not back Liverpool. So double negative, right? I find it really hard to not back Liverpool in these games because they've just been so good at fighting.
They keep doing it.
I think Liverpool win 2-1.
I mean, there's last thing, and I know we've gone totally off the rails, and I've done it like 3 times now. But when do the wheels fall off at Spurs? Because right now they look unbeatable. They look like they have every team's number except when they're in the Europa League. And let's be honest, no team looks great in the group stage of the Europa League because no one wants to be there. But this Spurs side right now just look like they have control of the games. Every match they play, it's like Mourinho's built in them this title-winning ethos. And is it going to happen?
That's why this game is fascinating, because Liverpool are the acid test when it comes to things like that. Leicester City versus Everton.
It feels like there's a lot of good midweek matches, and this is another one of them. Like, Leicester City versus Everton should be really good. Leicester obviously on a high, they won in the Europa League. Everton, we honestly don't know what side we're going to get, do we? Like, week in, week out. You wouldn't back them to win, lose, or draw. You kind of wish they weren't playing because making the prediction is like fool's gold.
Yeah, I will just say like a couple of things. It looks like James isn't going to be available for this game. It looks like he's going to be touch and go whether he's going to play. Leicester have got their injury problems as well. You've got Soyuncu, Costane, James Maddison, but they still keep finding a way to win games. But again, this is another game where you really wouldn't be shocked with any outcome.
No, not at all. Question for you is Alex Iwobi. Is he a right wing back?
No, I don't think he is. Alex Iwobi is one of those players that is incredibly frustrating, and and he sort of stands head and shoulders when I think of frustrating players, because when you see him play well, to me it doesn't justify what a great player he is. It annoys me because it thinks that's the level he can play at. Why don't we see that more often from him? Because he has got pace, he's got skill, he's got power, he's got good, a lot of good attributes, but he rarely shows it. And it's almost, I don't think he's a long-term solution in that position anyway. I think he might do a job for a while, but not long-term.
Yeah, if he does play at right wing back again, I would like to see Ancelotti screaming at him that when he touches the ball in the offensive third, it needs to be a cross.
When was the last time Alex Iwobi won a game of football, or where he did something that really turned a game?
He's never done that, but he did have his first game at right wing back where he rounds about 4 different people before laying the ball on for, I think, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It was classic Iwobi. It was sensational, and then the next match he looked like a brick wall that couldn't.
He fell on a banana skin. And he turned around. There was no banana skin.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, look, enough of this. 2-1 to Leicester City, and obviously Dominic Calvert-Lewin with a goal.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just going to go opposite. Opposite day. 2-1 Everton.
Love your enthusiasm. And bring it on. And now for our Grandstand Betters Bet of the Week, because it's Manchester City hosting West Bromwich Albion.
That is right, Thomas. It is our Grandstand Betters play of the midweek. Midweek. We don't know when they'll be putting this up on their YouTube channel, but if you should definitely go and check them out. Check out their details on the screen. Check out their YouTube channel. Their YouTube channel is blowing up. And why? Because they generally get their picks right and they win you money. And as I say time and time again, the only things they get wrong are the ones we pick for them. But that is going to change because we are going for the absolute banker of all bankers. We are going for Manchester City to beat West Bromwich Albion. We don't care how short the odds are, or how little money you will win, or how many thousands of pounds you'll have to put on to win a few pennies back. That is what we're going for. That is what we're sticking to.
Just don't care.
But at the end of the day, go over the grandstand bettors and win yourself some cash. But Tom, why I'm talking so much about this one, it's because we don't have a lot to talk about game-wise, do we?
No, I have 2 questions for you. Question 1.
So where are these questions coming from?
I prepared questions for all the teams so I could ask you things. Sergio Aguero, is he going to make the difference? Or is City all of a sudden going to refine the ability to put the ball in the back of the net? Or are they still missing a second striker?
Well, of course they are missing this. I mean, it doesn't answer any questions if City go out and batter West Brom 6, 7, 8-0.
No. But I'm asking, honestly, do you think that Aguero will change their just complete inability to score?
Yeah, of course, he will. I mean, the game in the Champions League, a pretty turgid game against Marseille. He comes on and within minutes he's scored. Yeah, and then they turn a 1-0 win into a 3-0 win. He makes a massive difference just because he is that poacher. He will stick the ball in the back of the net, which is the massive thing they've been missing. And if he can stay fit, you have to, unless they can find another striker, which is unlikely because he ain't going to spend that much money in January, and who's going to be available. You have to say at the moment it's looking like he's the difference between them sustaining a title challenge or not sustaining a title challenge.
West Bromwich Albion. Does Bilic last the year? And again, him losing his job has nothing to do with him being a bad manager. It has to do with their form.
I think he will. I think there'll be a lot of clubs that will just, especially these promoted clubs, they'll sort of keep their powder dry a little bit and just kind of not really try and spend a lot of money on paying off managers to get new managers in, and then I think they would rather go down with Bilic and keep him and try and go up again in the Championship. But again, there's not much to talk about at West Brom. This is going to be a hiding to nothing game for them, and I'm just going to get my score in first. I think Manchester City will win 5-0.
I am going to go 3-0 because I don't trust this team to score that many goals. Really quickly, I will say that if you look at the Championship, all 3 sides that went down are now just battering about. I know it's close, but they're the top 3 teams. And I think Bilic's his demeanor this year in the Premier League reminds me a little bit of, what was it, Neil Warnock's? Is it Neil Warnock? His ability to kind of laugh off games and deal with them. That's generally the sign of a manager that's going to stay on for another year. The guy who knows that, you're up against it, so just enjoy the experience. Yeah. And it is pretty much what Norwich did it. And I know this isn't a Championship podcast, but those 3 sides, Norwich, Watford, and Bournemouth, they're doing well, and they haven't even really hit great form yet, I would say. Yeah, agreed. It's time for Fulham to host the 3 teams from Brighton, Hove, and the great state of Albion.
Good opportunity for Fulham to get a win here, Thomas. I would say they'll be looking at this one as certainly a winnable game. And
I think both teams are going to be viewing this as a winnable match that they have to win as well.
Yeah, I mean, especially the fact that Fulham have just come off the back of losing to City. You assume they're going to lose to Liverpool as well, unless some major shocks happen. They do definitely need to get another win on the board. It's not going to be easy, though, because I do think Brighton are a good side.
Yeah, Brighton they're just really well drilled. It's rare that you see them go 2 games and play bad football. They obviously had that little spell about 5 matches in where they'd played incredibly good football and kept losing, and they got a little bit kind of bogged down. But recently, it's the goals for Brighton, isn't it? It's just the goals.
It is the goals.
Unfortunately for Fulham, I do think this is going to be Brighton's day just because their defence cannot go a match without 5 or 6 just heinous errors at the back. And eventually Neil Maupay on his 1,000th shot in a row will get the ball in the back of the net. I'm going to have to go for my favourite scoreline apparently this week. It's going to be 2-1 to Brighton.
I'm going to divert to what you normally do, and I'm going to go for Brighton's favourite scoreline, which is a 1-1 draw.
You can see it happening. You can definitely see it happening.
Arsenal versus the Saints of Southampton.
Right, apparently I'm not allowed to talk about Arsenal anymore because for some reason we have this incredible ability that whenever I talk about Arsenal honestly, we get like 15 downvotes. And Arsenal fans, I don't know why you hate me. You should hate your club because it's probably one of the worst run ones in the country.
It might be comments like that, Thomas. It might just be those little comments that you can't resist at the end. But this is very biased opinion, so I cannot begrudge you from saying it. This is nothing short of... I'm going to try and repair some damage. What a wonderful side they are. What rich history, a lot of majesty. Like anybody in world football would be proud to pull on that red Arsenal shirt.
I hear they have many great tapestries that adorn their stadium, and the rich mahogany is smelled throughout.
One of them's called the Bayer Tapestry.
Like, enough of this. Let's really quickly. Southampton, even with Danny Ings injured, they managed to put together good form. He's back. He scored the winner. Is this a top 6 side this year?
Yeah, it's pushing, isn't it? It's consistent. Whether they can keep the consistency over 38 games, but certainly no relegation fears. Certainly improved to that end. I would say it's more likely they're going to finish about 10th. Like if they were really strong, I think there's still too many sides that are a little bit better than them. But they are going to give Arsenal a really hard game. It's really tough to see Arsenal winning this one, but just because of the intensity and the effort, and the pressing, Southampton deal. And probably Arsenal are going to try and play this really stupid tick-a-tacker play out from the back, and they're going to be caught a bunch of times, and I could see them getting sucker punched. But I'm Arsenal strong.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Ian.
For Unai Emery, I'm going to say, for all the great Arsenal managers, 2-1 Arsenal. That's my default score on Arsenal, because I can't back them to win by any more.
The dumpster fire is going to lose 3-1. West Ham United!
Whoa! Watch out! The Eagles are coming!
West Ham United versus Crystal Palace.
A good old London derby, Thomas. David Moyes up against Roy Hodgson.
Crystal Palace just banged in 5 goals. I now expect them to lose every match for the next 6 because that's how this works. Because they have was.
Yeah, it's a quota, isn't it?
Exactly. No, I think. Are you going for 1-1?
Yeah, I think it will be.
I think West Ham look really good this year. I thought against United they kind of failed a little bit at the end, but we've talked about this enough time. United's attack tends to have 20 minutes of sheer brilliance every game, and it's tough to stop Bruno Fernandes just ripping you to shreds. I think West Ham will win this game. I don't trust this Palace side. The only reason they won 5-1 was because there was a sending off, and in that first half they still didn't look that good. It took the final 15 minutes, and hell did freeze over for 20 minutes because Christian Benteke got a brace. So I'm not backing him. 2-1 West Ham. Jared Bowen with a good brace. Jared Bowen's incredible.
Yeah, I like West Ham a lot. It's just Palace have this ability to kind of suck you into the game they want to play, which involves basically just sitting back and then just giving the ball to Zaha and just say, go and do something, Wilfred. Go and win us the match.
My question is, do they even want to play football? Because sometimes...
No, they don't. They want to stop anyone else playing football other than Wilfred Zaha.
Yes. And Andros Townsend would like to go do a radio show.
Who can blame him? Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Chelsea.
Right, I think I'm going to ban myself from talking about Chelsea in this because we both know I can go on for about an hour and a half. But I do have a question for you. What do you think of Ziyech? Or Ziyech?
I think he's an extremely promising player. I think he's looked really good since he's come in so far. I think he's linked up well with Tino Werner at times. At the moment, he is just another one of Chelsea's phenomenal young talents that they seem to just be able to rotate in and rotate out.
I'm really interested to see how Frank Lampard handles him, because when he's on, he's a wizard and he's unplayable. But when he can't find his range of passing, he's almost a black hole that they have to stop giving the ball to after a while, because as beautiful as it looks every time he curls the ball with his left foot, he has matches where he couldn't hit a barn door. And I'm really interested to see what they do with him, because when he's on, he might be the best player on the pitch, and when he's off, like I said, he's a black hole. So I just want to know what you thought.
I don't know. I just think that sounds similar to what we've seen so far from Havertz and Pulisic.
Yeah, except that I genuinely think Ziyech, his left foot it's a magic wand. Like if when he's on, every time he kicks a ball, you're just like, did that just rotate 90 degrees in midair and drop at Timo Werner's foot? Yes, it did.
And here we go. Here's the long Chelsea rant. Right, Tom. This is. I don't think this game's going to be high scoring.
Nope.
I think that because Wolves, you got no chance to score more than one goal against Chelsea, and Wolves themselves will usually like to keep games pretty tight and win them late.
Yeah, 2-1 Chelsea.
1-0 Chelsea.
Also, I just want you to know that's the fourth time I picked a 2-1 scoreline this week.
Yeah, I know. It's hard not to go for them, though, isn't it, in these tight games? Because generally you just think that Premier League, most games there are like more than a couple of goals in it. And
you've gone 2-1, to be fair, 3 times as well. So
I'm really sorry, Wolves fans, that we really didn't spend much time talking about your side.
We talk about Wolves quite a lot, but the loss of Jimenez is still just robbed them of a focal point in their attack. Yeah. Didn't you know? Got run over.
Jeez. This took a turn. Leeds United versus Newcastle United.
I mean, are Newcastle United? I've just read Steve Bruce's interview where he says they're missing half their team for this next match, which really angers me because I predicted them to beat West Brom on Saturday or Sunday, and now it doesn't look like it's going to happen if apparently only has 3 men and a dog to play.
Thomas.
Maybe
it's
he'll play
lulling them into a false sense of stability. What's the word? Carry on.
Security. But yeah, no, good. This, to me, I feel like Newcastle are going to get shellacked. I'm not saying they won't score goals as well because, Leeds just leave themselves wide open at the back and bomb 8 players forward on every attack. But I feel like this Leeds attack are going to have Newcastle's number. I don't think they can slow them down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with you on this one. Again, it comes back to the fact this Newcastle side, unfortunately, is still really struggling from the effects of having coronavirus going around the squad. And as you said, Bruce talked about players being out. This game's only 3 days after that. Yeah. There's still going to be so many players that are going to be doubtful. At the moment, you're talking like they're not going to have players like Saint-Maximin, like Dwight Gale, Ryan Fraser, Lascelles, some key players really still out for this new. Not to mention Dubravka. I think it's going to be Leeds all day long.
Yeah, I'm going 4-1 to Leeds.
Wow. I don't think Newcastle scoring. Rare clean sheet for Leeds. Although Robin Koch although he's not been amazing, unfortunately he's got to have surgeries. He's going to be off for a while, which is a shame for a signing that's come in. Although he, as I say, he hasn't looked great.
He's had a pretty tough time this far.
I'm going to go for 3-0 to Leeds United.
Last question on this: Patrick Bamford, future England international, or going to be that weird Premier League striker that ends up making like 8 appearances for England but never getting past Calvert-Lewin, Kane, and the rest of them, Rashford?
Yeah, I mean, again, England's a tough one, isn't it? We do look quite all right in the striker department. It seems to me Bamford is the sort of player that's going to just go for his career, always trying to prove that he is a top striker. Unfortunately, no matter how many goals he scores, you get the feeling that he'll always be secondary behind someone else.
It does feel interesting that like when he misses chances, they keep referencing the fact that he misses chances despite him scoring like 6 goals, and yet Timo Werner can literally steal goals from Olivier Giroud's foot and then miss the target 12 times, and yet Timo Werner is described as, and I quote, lethal.
Aston Villa versus Burnley.
The only excitement here is Jack Grealish. And have you seen the photo of Jack Grealish, Ian?
Tell me about it, Thomas, because I'll say yes, but it'd be better if you just tell me about it.
But there's a woman with rather large memories, and he's kind of just ducked his head down and is going with her right there.
His stock is on the rise. I do no wrong.
He is flying through life right now.
All you can tell me now is that woman had coronavirus, and I would just think Jack Grealish is like my hero.
I think in this game, and like every game for Aston Villa, I'm really hoping that Jack Grealish takes it by the scruff of the neck and just decides that it's his game, which he's done a fair few times this season. He's done it for England in every game he's played, where he's basically been like, you give me the ball and then we'll operate through me. And I hope they do that here, and I hope that, unfortunately for Burnley, they batter some goals in, because I'm going to go Aston Villa 3, Burnley 0.
Disagree a little bit. I see this. I see Burnley. I see Burnley being quite good opponents for Aston Villa, as a factor that they can sit and just be quite compact like they normally are, and just be quite deadly from direct football and set pieces, which is something Villa have been quite shoddy at defensively over the last few weeks. And I see Burnley certainly causing some problems. And I certainly don't see it being 3-0. And this is going to be one we're going to massively differ on, because I see Burnley winning it 2-1.
Unbelievable scenes. Clearly you've been smoking.
Once again, we can disregard everything we've seen, heard and smelt in this video as we roll down to the final match we're going to talk about. It is a side that is undoubtedly struggling, and the world is against them, coming up against Sheffield United, who are bottom of the league. It is time for the main event.
Sheffield United versus Europa League contestants Man U.
Wouldn't it be funny if this game's being played on a Thursday night? I don't know if it is or not, just so Man U can get used to playing.
Get the practice in early, so come January and February, when you're having to play 3 games a week and one of them's in the Europa League, you've already trained for it.
You're going to talk about how they did in European Cup. Probably not, hopefully not forever, because it's been done to death in the media already. In the league, Manchester United are going well. By hook or by crook, they're finding ways to win. They're outstanding away from home. They seem to always want to go a goal down before they kick into gear. They're coming up against the cannon fodder of the league, the side that have not won a game, or we don't think they've won a game coming into this game. But to tell you his thoughts and his dreams is our resident expert Manchester United fan, Thomas Pickering.
You're right. It's been talked to death in the media. And this is probably the softest landing they could have asked for, outside of the fact that Sheffield United are going to pack the goal area.
Well, it's not, because they got to play City at the weekend, don't they? I mean, Ollie could be under absolute fire.
This is the hard thing about doing a week in advance, is you're looking at 2 sets of matches that you haven't seen the results to. Obviously, we both predicted United to beat City, but that was before the most abject showing United have had this season against an RB Leipzig side that came to play, and United were asleep for 75 minutes of the match. I honestly don't know what to think against the Sheffield United side, because if any team in the Premier League can hold this United defence goalless, it feels like Sheffield United, not even out of skill, but out of the fact that quite literally a team bus will be parked in front of the goal and it will be then cemented to the frame, and then they'll build a fort around the outside of it as well to stop them from scoring. There's not a lot to say about Man United when they're on form attacking. They have the best attack in England. They're better than Chelsea. They're better than City. They're better than Liverpool going forward when they want to be. Bruno Fernandes pulling the strings for players like Rashford, Martial, Cavani, Igalo if he ever gets the chance. But apparently Ole Gunnar Solskjaer pays him to sit on the bench, and he's on 150 grand a week for that. But let's not even get into that.
After 4, even though they're in complete disarray in terms of their league position and the way they've been playing this season. They look almost down already. The big question marks would be, if Manchester United do lose to City, are they ever going to pull are they ever going to pull the trigger on getting rid of Ollie?
I don't think so. I think all the word coming out the club is that inside the club, they have a very clear vision, and they're unwilling to tell any of us that vision, but they know what the vision is, and they are following said vision to its conclusion, which I believe is saving money, not firing the manager, and not actually building a long-term plan. But I'm just saying what I see from the outside.
I just literally, and for those people that support him and think he'll do well, okay, he might do in the long term, but he's so mediocre. He's so mediocre at everything he does. He's like a 5 out of 10 if you look at manager stats for everything. And there's nothing inspiring about the bloke when he comes in afterwards as well. It's all just like players pulling a rabbit out of the hat when Man United win, or Bruno Fernandes invariably finding a way for Man United to win.
Well, that's what it's been all season.
It wasn't even a fucking Solskjaer signing. He wanted to sign Grealish, who may have been just as good. I don't know, but Fernandes was kind of like, oh yeah, well we'll get this guy. He might be all right.
He looks okay.
Yeah, Man United. I think Man United will win. It's got this habit of they're conceding. I think it'll be Sheffield United 1, Man United 3.
So I spoke to a guy I play football with who might genuinely be one of the better footballers I've ever played with, and he's a United fan. And
thank you very much, Tom. Oh, it wasn't you.
And he was like, who would you rather have than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? And I was like, well, firstly, like, me and you try really hard not to call for a manager's head unless it's like gone that far that we're like, we can't stand the guy, like Mourinho at the end. But I said Pochettino, and he went, but Pochettino's never won anything. And I went, neither has Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and at least we'd play an attractive brand of football. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I'd rather have a manager that has an identity and plays a certain style and doesn't change his formation every week than what we have right now, where we line up against RB Leipzig with 7 defenders because we had a back 5 and 2 center defensive midfielders. I'd rather a Pochettino side that lines up with 6 of the best attacking players he can put out there and tells his right and left back that if they want to attack, they can, but that we're going to possess the ball, work it to our strikers, and get shots on goal.
And it baffles me when Man United fans are so stubborn that they just don't want to call for Ollie's head just because he won trophies for them as a player. But that's the way it is, I'm afraid.
That is it. We apologize for all of these having to be done in advance. Hopefully we can record the next.
Get used to it, folks, because I feel this is going to be the way till get the FA Cup out of the way, because it does seem like the Premier League is going to be midweek Saturday, at least till the end of December.
Now that I've been cut off once by Ian, I will state that we will do our absolute best to at least see a couple games next time before it. Maybe we'll record on a Tuesday night for a Wednesday, but obviously it's very tough because Ian actually has a job and a life, and he has to do quite a lot of editing for us. So, thank you for liking.
Let me cut you off there. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Go for it, Thomas.
Thank you for commenting. Thank you for all the things. And we'll see you in like 4 days.
We'll see you very soon.
Anything to add, Ian?
No, I'm good.